Hey Lupus Life Hackers, Janine here from Lupus Health Shop. Welcome back to my channel, the best place for lupus warriors and family and friends who want to learn more on how to decrease symptoms naturally through a functional medicine approach. Subscribe and click on that bell if you haven't already. We're the #1 spot for information on lupus. So you've tried paleo, but you're still having stomach problems. What gives? I know it's super frustrating, but you don't want to miss out on these tips, so keep watching. So just because you've gone paleo and you eat clean, that doesn't mean you're instantly healed. You might still be developing food sensitivities because you're not addressing the underlying issues. Also, just because someone does paleo one way doesn't mean it's the right way for you. Your gut is messed up. When we go on paleo, it's so that we can remove inflammatory foods and so that we focus on nutrient-dense foods like fruits and vegetables. But within that category, there are tons of fruits and vegetables that may not be right for you. So when you're transitioning to a new diet, it may take some time for your stomach to actually adjust. Our body has been used to eating a certain way for years, and right when we decide to change it drastically, sometimes that can cause issues. So it's important to slowly introduce foods, to take your time, and to support your body so that it can work through it. Another thing, you might be reacting to raw veggies and fruits. The skin can be very fibrous and tough to break down. So if you're struggling to eat raw, make sure you're cooking them by sauteing them, by steaming them, or by baking them. If you're still having issues, I've got some interesting explanations that I'm going to dive into soon, so keep watching. What about nuts and seeds? When we think of paleo, we're always hearing about vegetables and fruits, but nuts and seeds are just as important. However, you could be reacting to those. Nuts can be very hard on our digestive system. They also contain phytic acid, which is a storage form of phosphorus, and we can't digest that. It also binds to minerals like zinc and iron to prevent us from absorbing them. But when we have digestive issues, which most of us do, sometimes we have the inability to digest things properly, or we lack those enzymes to help us digest them. This can be why. So one alternative is to look into specific enzymes that may help and to soak your nuts and seeds overnight so that water removes them. Hit that like if you're a coffee drinker. This may be your issue though, so keep listening. Coffee is very acidic. Now, when we have disease present in our body, that means we are very acidic in nature due to our environment, due to the foods that we eat. So coffee is one of the most acidic things that we can have, and that's why it's one of the most important things to remove. Don't fret. There are some other ways to get energy to have that brain power without using caffeine. So if we don't have proper acidity in your stomach to balance, then this can actually make it worse. Plus, acidic drinks and food make our health worse. So we need to shift into the alkaline state, which means having herbs, different fruits and vegetables that will power us and give us energy, give us brain power without the crash, without the dehydration. It's a win-win. The only difference is that you have to get used to that new habit. So if you like your warm or cold coffee in the morning, switch that to a different type of latte. Switch it to a smoothie, whatever works for you. But it's a new habit that we're forming together. And you're going to benefit much more by not having any symptoms. Another underlying issue that many people have is SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. This means that if you're on paleo and you're still having the stomach problems when you eat garlic, onions, cauliflower, anything like that, it means you want to tailor it even more to a food map diet. These vegetables can ferment in your gut, making your stomach worse. And SIBO is a tough one to tackle, so it's not something that's easily done on your own. It's important to see a functional practitioner like me or anyone else who's qualified. So what we would do is do stool testing to see what exact bacteria is in there so that we can decrease the abundance of it, and we can help using supplements and diet. Then from there, you'll be able to repopulate with proper, healthy bacteria. But first, it's important to remove it. Otherwise, if you're taking probiotics, there's nowhere for those probiotics to stay and grow. And that means you have to take them forever. But our goal is to only do it for a certain amount of time, and then you won't have to take supplements anymore. Once you've eradicated the overgrowth, then you can start implementing and putting those foods back into your diet, and you won't react so badly. Hit that like button if you're ready to figure out what the deal is. Another underlying issues that you need to address in order to find relief In fact, these problems will be the answer to why you're still showing many symptoms of lupus too. Histamine intolerance. If you break out in rashes, or if you see people on Facebook in their groups talking about how they always take Benadryl or always taking Claritin because they're always having an allergic reaction, this indicates that they have a histamine intolerance. There's too many histamines floating in their body, so they're overreactive to things that they shouldn't be.
Like what you see so far, subscribe and click on the bell so you don't miss out next week on our new video. Now back to the topic of the week.
When you take allergy medication like that, or you're taking steroids all the time, that's not addressing the issue. You're only slowing the symptoms and you're controlling the symptoms. So in order to really address it, you have to change your diet. Histamine is a chemical messenger that works in the body as a neurotransmitter. It helps digest food in the stomach, and it gets released by the immune system as part of an allergic response. So when the body accumulates too much, it interferes with all the normal functions. As histamine is produced in the body, an enzyme is also made to help break it down. And this enzyme is known as DAO, or diamine oxidase. When you eat foods that contain histamines, which is super common, it's there to help break it down. But if your body's unable to produce the DAO and you can no longer break it down, that's when the intolerance occurs. There's a few reasons why this can happen. Certain foods block it from working, or they can cause an excess of histamine to be released. Some medications actually change the way DAO works, so it can reduce the levels or it increases the histamines. Another issue is if you have digestive disorder, leaky gut, SIBO, or IBD. These can all block DAO or cause an overproduction of histamine. So it's important to go to the root cause. Otherwise, you're not gonna fully heal. If you have these symptoms, it might be best to incorporate a low histamine foods for at least 2 months, and then make sure you're not eating any high histamine foods. Some symptoms are nasal congestion, watery eyes, runny nose, you're reacting to a lot of things that you shouldn't be, headaches, migraines, nausea, sinus issues, infections, and fatigue and diarrhea. These all kind of sound like lupus as well. That's why it's always important to have stool testing, and it's always important to have other factors considered too. But if you tried paleo and you're still having an issue, remove the foods that are high in histamine and slowly introduce one new food for a week and see how it goes. If you react, that could be a sign. Some examples of high histamine foods: soy products, chocolate, pickles, black green tea, energy drinks, cheese, fermented foods, citrus fruits, dry fruit, and eggs. Also tomatoes. Another issue, leaky gut. So we all have this, but leaky gut can be different per person. It depends on the type of bacteria that you have, and it depends on how severe it is. Everyone could be a little different. It's important to start small and venture out with our new food each week. If you can't afford a food sensitivity test, which is what I really recommend in my Mission Remission program, that's so we can heal you faster. But if you can't, we would do an elimination diet. You may need to give supplements too. You might be lacking enzymes to digest hearty foods like bromelain. That's something that actually helped me tremendously while on the paleo, along with tailoring it to my needs. Without hydrochloric acid and enzymes, your food rots in your digestive system, causing bloating, heartburn, diarrhea, constipation, or gas. So it's really important to have all the players in order for the game to work. If you're still having issues, it's important to see a healthcare practitioner because you don't want to waste more time, you don't want to get more frustrated, you don't want to feel defeated, right? So it's really important to see someone who's qualified. That could be a certified holistic nutritionist who has a background and bachelor's degree in health sciences or nutrition, cell nutrition. There's different areas of expertise that are super important. I'm sure you've heard a million times functional practitioners throwing around anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, pro-inflammatory. But what exactly are they talking about, and how does that affect lupus warriors? Well, next week, I'm going to share exactly what those terms mean and how it can help in our healing journey. In the meantime, while you wait for that awesome video next week, check out these 2 videos up here to learn more about lupus solutions. Subs if you loved it, thumbs if you liked it. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next week.